Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So here for a super messy day today. I am covered in ink already and I've only just switched the camera on. But the reason I'm covered in ink is because I have been playing around this morning. So I wanted to come on and share these little book pages with you. So this is a way, I guess, for, I'm sure lots of you have already done things like this, but I haven't probably been quite so experimental with things like this before. But also it's a way for anyone beginning. It's again quite a good cheap way of getting, varied results with quite minimal supplies. So all I actually have used is, if I just grab it up now, I had a vintage book here. So as you can see, the pages are quite yellowy in this book, which, I really enjoyed for this project. So just going to tear out a bunch of pages. I might tear out a few more just in case we end up doing a lot. We probably won't, but just in case. So I've got my pages. I've just got my background stamp. Now this is that stamp that I really often use for my corner stamping, and then I've just taken a couple of different coloured inks. So these are just my colours that I'm really enjoying using at the moment. So for some reason these are just my colours at this moment. So I'm using the Salty Ocean Distress ink, the Wild Honey Distress ink, and the Vintage Photo, as per usual really. I have brought along my black Stays On just in case, and I've also bought the Azure Stays On as well. Now, as you can see, I have been making quite a mess already, but if I just kind of show you basically what I've been doing is just trying to make my own, background pages and things from the vintage book pages. So if I just show you basically, obviously it's very straightforward, and I'm sure, as I say, that many of you already do loads of things like this, but if I just show you, my sort of method here. So I've just taken the Vintage Photo. Now what I did was I've inked up the page in the first instance. Now the reason why I have done that is because if I show you, this is what happened obviously if I inked it afterwards, because I have stamped just using the distress inks, and obviously they don't dry instantly. So as you can see, when I then went over to distress it with the distress ink, it's basically smudged my impression. So it's then not really a pattern as such, it's just like a blurred mottled page, but that's fine, we can use that somewhere else. But if you see, when I do the inking first and then stamp, it really has a lovely effect on there. So I'm just going to ink up around the edge here, like that. And then, depending on how coloured you want it, you might want to go around, the sort of centre of the page, go all over the page. Just depends really on what type of look you're going for. Then I took my really gorgeous stamp. Now I've had this stamp for the longest time, and I mean, if you watch my channel you'll know that I use this all the time. I haven't got the packaging anymore, but I feel like this was a stamp by a company called Indigo Blue, and if I recall, I think they spelt blue just B-L-U without the E, I think. But I don't know what it would have been called. I mean, possibly something just like swirl, large swirl, something like that. But it really is, one of my most favourite stamps. So if you wanted to go online to have a look, Indigo Blue, I think, was the brand. So, and you can just go, randomly, anywhere you want, all over your book page. We're not trying to make this look perfect, we're just trying to get a random pattern around there. So that's that one. So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and we'll just do another one. So again, I'm just going to ink this one up first. So again, I'm just going to ink it with the vintage photo in the first place. And again, you know, as I say, it's up to you really whether you want to go right over the page or, you know, leave it less distressed, less dark in the middle. I have gone right over it, but, you know, completely up to you how you do it. I'm just going to kind of stamp this off a little bit. I should really wipe it, shouldn't I? Let's try and be a bit more conscientious because, well, because I'm on camera really. So otherwise I would just dip it into my blue ink and then be contaminating my coloured ink pads. Right. So take again my Salty Ocean. Just going to stamp this down and just check that it's not coming out really yellowy still. No, isn't that a gorgeous colour? I know I've used it a few times recently, but I just really love that colour, and you know, it's quite nice to use some different things, I think. So yeah, quite enjoying getting out old stuff, you know, that I haven't really utilised to the fullest, and having a bit of a play. So I mean, as I say, I'm sure that you guys probably won't get in quite such a mess as me. You probably would use a block for a start and therefore not get ink quite so all over your hands, but no, it doesn't really bother me. It's all for a good cause, isn't it, as you can see there. So that's my next one, which, you know, just love it. So I'm just going to pop that to one side to sort of dry off a little bit. And then the other one that I did, so if I just replicate it here with you guys, is this one, which I inked up a little bit with the blue. So I'm making these pages very messy. Right, so I just inked around it a little bit with the blue. And to be fair, you know, there's nothing stopping you from actually inking it with the blue and the vintage photo. You know, if you wanted to do that, you could do that. So perhaps we'll give that a try. So just pop on a bit of vintage photo as well. And then what I did, I just took my blue Stays On. So rather than my Distress inks, I'm just using my azure colour Stays On, which again, you know, I've been absolutely loving lately. It's my new one. So it's very nice and juicy and, you know, really having a big impact on the page. Whoa, and everywhere else, because I'm just being very clumsy today. Isn't that so stunning? I can't tell you how much I love this stamp. You know, kind of, I mean, I've had it for years and years. I couldn't even tell you how many years, maybe 8 years, something like that. And it's just one of those stamps that just, no matter how many times I use it, I still absolutely love it. So, yeah, just really, really gorgeous. I love the way this blue is coming out very, very rich and dark in some places. Right, so put those away now. Now, just put my lids on my pads. I might just clean my hands off slightly. I know this is very unusual for me, but I'm just going to clean them off slightly so that I don't just get ink everywhere I touch, because that'll be the next thing that obviously happens. Right. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit cleaner. Right. Now, obviously these are just single book pages, so they're pretty flimsy. You know, they're not very robust really to work, you know, in a journal. So what I might do is actually just stick a couple of them together. Or alternatively, you know, you could back them on to something thicker. You know, if you've got some old cardstock or something like that that you actually, you know, don't kind of need, then you could just back them onto that. I'm just going to glue mine down to just another sheet of book page. Now, obviously, if I'm going to cut these down, because I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to do with these, I'll probably then need to, you know, glue around my edges a little bit, because obviously, as you can see, I'm just, you know, just popping glue randomly around here. So when I cut this, obviously it's not going to necessarily be stuck properly at the edges. So just pop that on there. And then I'm just going to spread that glue out. I'm going to do it from the other side just because I don't want to smudge my ink. I don't know whether I would, but you know, I am quite clumsy, so it is kind of a possibility. And I'll just go over it very gently now on that side. Right, I'm just going to leave that to one side to dry for a few moments, and we'll just glue our other one together, just so as we kind of thicken that. Oh, it's actually kind of doubled up anyway, so I'll just glue that one down as well. Oops. I can just see you know, lots of ideas for using these pages. So I'm just, oh, sorry, I can't get the pin back in here. It's, through my excitement, I'm not quite steady. Right, let's again just spread that glue a little bit. Again, that one to one side, and then we'll just take our you know, the slightly paler greeny blue coloured one as well. We'll just glue that one down. Like that. Oops. Quite excited because I've discovered that I can now trim my videos in YouTube itself. I don't know whether everybody has got the new YouTube Studio beta thingy running, or whether they're just trialing it on, you know, random people. I'm not really too sure. I know that sometimes when they're those beta versions, not everybody seems to have them. But you know, if you have, I was able to actually trim my video from within there. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't a little bit clunky and, you know, a bit fiddly, but it's really handy to be able to do that. So, yeah, really, really pleased with that. You know, because sometimes you upload a video and I've forgotten that actually, you know, it had sort of my daughter shouting or something like that on it, and it's just really convenient to be able to actually then just edit it from within, isn't it? Right, so that's my 3 sheets. Aren't they just so pretty? Oops, excuse me, just trod on my cup now. Aren't they so pretty? I just absolutely love them. Right, I'm going to go and get something else now. Right, I'm back. So I just nipped and got my parcel tape. The reason that I did that was because I saw a video, I think it was Resu. Now I don't know how you really pronounce that, and I really hope that I've not mispronounced it completely, but on her channel, and this was ages ago, how she distressed her vintage looking papers, and she makes the most fantastic job of it. And she used some parcel tape across a couple of bits where the paper was torn. So I'm just going to attempt that myself, because it kind of has that aged look about it, you know, because it's obviously brown. So I'm just going to trim it down so it's not quite so long. There we go. Whether now I'll just trim it off here. So this was obviously one of the pieces that we haven't just, you know, double thickness, you know, glued to another sheet. So I will just glue it into another sheet here. Like that. Okay. So loads and loads of glue. Again, just put my pin back in my glue. Come on, come on. Oh, why can't I do that? Right, okay. So stick that like that. And just, again, spread that glue out. Just like that. Okay. So we've got our sort of sellotape there. Now it's not looking quite how hers looked, but if we just, you know, rough it up a little bit, so just to make it look a little bit more sort of crumpled and then aged. Perhaps that will look a little bit better. I wonder if we could just, you know, rough it up slightly like that. Okay, right, I'm going to leave that now to dry as well. So I'm going to bring these back in. Obviously these are not really dry because, you know, they were quite inky, and obviously the glue. So, you know, I probably really should, if I'm truthful, be leaving these for a little while longer. But obviously, you know, I'm anxious and excited to crack on with these, so I don't really want to now be leaving them. So if we just choose one to work with first, so let's choose the goldy coloured one. And I happen to have here some ephemera pieces from my Mary kit. So just bring in a couple of pieces. Oh my gosh, look, just spotted that bird, because I'm just loving that blue and the gold colour. So I'm just going to chop those two. Then I've got some doily here. So I'm just wondering now, how should we do this? Now I'm just wondering, do we want to chop this down? Now I wonder whether we could back this onto here. I have just some old paper bag. Again, you know, so handy when your desk is just full of desk ephemera, because you just have all these bits laying about, which is awesome, obviously. So what I might do is tear that in half like that, and then I might just tear down the edge like that. I guess we'd best just tear the bottom as well for a bit of continuity there. Like that. Just trying to work out whether we actually want that brown showing or not. So do we or don't we? Perhaps don't. Perhaps we don't. Right, let me cut this bird out. Having a wobbly time with the scissors for some reason at the moment, even wobblier than normal. So you have to bear with me. I mean, I never do have the steadiest hand, but sometimes it's even worse than others. So, and today just seems to be one of those times. Yeah, so I mean, particularly if you're starting out in journals and haven't got an abundance of stuff, an abundance of papers, this is quite a, you know, easy way of expanding your stash, your stuff, because, you know, we really are just using very minimal things here. You know, we've all that is extra really from the book pages that we talked about the other day. Obviously, you know, we talked about a background stamp, you know, just inking this bird up around the edge because if there was any white space, just covering it now with the blue. So obviously if you've got your background stamp, all that really is then required is just the purchase of another couple of colours of stamps, inks, sorry, which, you know, I mean, I know you can get various different brands of inks. So even here in the UK, you know, you don't have to buy the distress inks for the stamping. I mean, obviously for the distressing, you would, but for the actual stamping itself, you know, you could buy pretty cheap stamp ink pads and you'd still be able to get decent results with the stamping, not with the distressing. But I mean, obviously I know that, you know, for instance, in the States, the products are obviously, you know, much more affordable. So, you know, it might not be quite such an issue anyway. So I've got those now, just having a look. Oops, here. Just got some words here. And again, I mean, I'm just using things that I've got left laying about from other projects. So, you know, that's all I'm doing. So here I've just got a little sentiment, every second counts. Which might just look quite nice on there. And then I've got some lace here. So obviously we didn't talk about the lace. So, you know, this is obviously a project that I'm including lace. Now you don't have to include lace. Obviously you could, you know, you could work without it. Or, you know, you could just use some sort of fabric or something from some old clothes or something like that. You know, it would do the same job. You know, things like linings of skirts are pretty good. If you have young children or grandchildren, particularly, you know, girls, young granddaughters, you could use, you know, like the tutu type skirts. I mean, my daughter has lots of those and they are absolutely brilliant for using because obviously they're just net, you know, and occasionally obviously they have some lace on there as well. So, you know, I regularly cut her old clothes up and incorporate those. So, you know, that's another kind of way of getting some supplies really. I mean, obviously if you didn't have any granddaughters or anything, you may be able to get some second-hand, you know, maybe from a charity shop or, you know, somewhere like that. You may be able to get some what was I saying? Some used items of children's clothing, things like that. You know, or net curtains, they're always good. You know, anything really that you could cut up and use as your lace, your fabric, your, you know, kind of netting really. So yeah, you know, it doesn't necessarily involve a big expense, is I suppose what I'm trying to say. There we go. So that's like that. Oops. So I'm just wondering whether we want to ink around this, maybe just slightly with this wild honey, just so as it stands out slightly more. Like that. So I'll just now pop some fabric glue underneath that. Sentiment on the top like that. Okay, so that's that one, and I'm still undecided whether I actually want to do the you know, popping it onto there, but what I might do, just to give it a bit more of a lift, is go round the edge slightly with the black. You know, not so as you can really notice it overly much, but just a little bit. Just makes it stand out in a couple of places, you know, which I quite like. So, oops, just pop that like that. And obviously, again, you know, I'm now pulling in more things, but, you know, you may want to buy some bling. Now obviously I don't know where people in other countries would get this. Over here, you know, you'd get it from like a haberdashery type shop or something like that, but I guess, you know, different places, you may, you know, it might be different in different places. You may be able to get it, for instance, in the States you might even be able to buy it in Walmart's. You know, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if you could. You know, again, I wish that we could buy things like that in the supermarkets, because it would be super handy. So I'm just going to pop that lace at the top, I think. I mean, I don't know whether it really needs it, but I just think you can never have enough lace. So I'll just pop that across the top like that. And then I'm just going to hot glue this down. Just need to be a bit careful of my fingers because this is quite tiny. Oops. Ouch. Okay. And then again, you know, I'm just going to trim my lace down a little bit at the top, because obviously it's overhanging, which I don't mind, but it's overhanging a lot, so it's flopping around. So I'll just trim that down a little bit. There we go. So, you know, that's just a little kind of tuck spot, or, you know, pocket or whatever on a page, which I just think looks really, really pretty. So I'm just going to leave that to one side, and I might leave something, you know, weighed down on top of those words while that dries. So if I pull in our next one, you know, and I've really not worried about which way round I've pulled these in. Actually, as I said that, I'm going to swap. So I'm going to pull this one in. So what I thought I could do with this one is just make, you know, a very simple envelope. And again, actually, I need to really think about this so as I have the text really going the right way. So I'm just going to then fold that down like that, trying to leave a little bit of a gap there for tucking things in. Now, obviously, you know, this would be best stitched, sorry, on the sewing machine. So, you know, might do that. But actually, I've folded that the wrong way because I really wanted to have the decorative side the other side. So, because what I thought we'd do is actually decorate the, you know, address side. So just sticking that like that. Now I'm just going to have a look, because I just wondered whether any of those little postage stamps that I made would go on this. Now I can't remember what colours that they were. Oh, that's a really nice one, isn't it? Just double check. Oh, we've got that one. No, let's not use that. So, oops. Isn't that just so pretty on there? I just love the way that looks against that green. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? So we could have that like that, and then just having a look and a bit of a rummage through my stuff here to see what we might want to use as the, you know, address plate. So just have a little bit of a look. I don't know whether I've got anything that's quite the right size. I'm going to try this little piece out. Again, you know, I don't know whether this is the right size. Just kind of winging it a bit here. We have that there. Not sure that looks quite right, to be honest now. Let's just try inking that around the edge. I think because the stamp is quite big for the label is what's not really working quite there. So let's just have a look, see what else we've got. Oh, that's really nice with those colours too, isn't it? Again, I'm just grabbing any old rubbish that I just happen to have, you know, not rubbish, sorry, desk ephemera. Just grabbing any old desk ephemera that I just happen to have here. So, that one's nice too, isn't it? Problem is, I actually think everything I put down looks really nice, but not necessarily all together. So that's just throwing me slightly, which is a bit annoying. So let's just have a look and see what else we've got. Got this piece here, which obviously is running, you know, the wrong way really, but it is the right colour for the stamp. So let's just have a look and see how that would look. And actually, I could use one of those little strips. Just tear that down. Okay. Just going to cut this banner piece down. I think that book page looks so pretty with those colours on it. So okay, just trim that down there. Right, okay. So as I say, I don't know whether this will be quite right, because obviously it is up the wrong way, but it's not bad, is it? Too bad. Maybe I will cut the banner pieces off. What do you think? Maybe I might even cut it in slightly. And the reason I say that is because perhaps we should back it, you know, on a piece of fabric. So just have a look how that looks. So I might just, you know, rough this up slightly. nice, isn't it? And then what we could do is possibly ink that up a little bit with the blue, so as it's tying in a little bit. And ink it a bit with this vintage photo. Like that. Yeah, I quite like that, I think. So that way around. So I quite like that, and then get rid of these bits of rubbish before I end up with them stuck onto my project, because that would be the next thing. It's quite likely to happen. So that's those. Let's see. Just have that on the lace there. So again, I'm just going to trim that down. Like that. Just get rid of that piece there. Okay, again, I'm just going to use that fabric glue. Piece like this. Okay. Right. Right, okay. Now what I might do is actually pop down and stitch this on, you know, stitch this together. My envelope. I just crunch this up a little bit. So I might just stitch round my envelope, I think, before I glue my stamp on. I think. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to pop that to one side for a moment, kind of weighed down whilst we do the last piece, and then I'll go and stitch that on the sewing machine, and then hopefully, time allowing, I will obviously come back and show you guys. So let me just see what time we're up to. Okay, right, so this is my final piece here. Well, it's not really my final piece, but it's, you know, probably the last piece that I will actually be able to play with here and now. So again, I'm just going to drag in some little bits and pieces. I'm just rummaging through my bits of desk ephemera here again, just seeing what I've got here that might go nicely with this. Ooh, just that. Let's just have a look. Also, I had some decoupage napkin pieces, but now I can't seem to see them anywhere. Ooh, you see what it's like to have just too much rubbish all over. Ooh, I have got that vintage that lady card, which may be quite nice on there. Let's just tear around her. Oh, she looks very striking, doesn't she, against that colour, I must say. Wow, I just love colour. It's, you know, I just really always feel very drawn to colour. So, yeah, really like her. Right, so I might just actually pop, oddly, a little bit of blue around the edge of her. Just because we're going to pop her on that very blue background. So, just pop a bit of blue on. Oh, doesn't that look lovely? And then I'm just going to go round that, toning it down slightly. I said toning it down slightly, but it's actually just covered it up completely, so I'll just pop a bit more on. Okay. Like that. just wondering now how we want her, whether we might want to just have her as a little tuck spot, you know, on the kind of corner of a page, or whether we'd like her maybe as some sort of pocket, or I mean, we could actually make her into a large tag. That might be quite nice, or a sort of more belly band type piece. So let's just cut this down like that, I think, and then across here. Like that. So what you could do, obviously, if you wanted to use this just straight into your book, you know, naked, without kind of anything else, you know, you could always pop it down on yet another piece of book page. So I might just do that now, because that just strengthens it slightly more. And, you know, I'm always very paranoid about things not really being thick enough. So, and obviously sometimes book pages are thick enough just doubled over. These feel quite flimsy pages, so you know, I would rather strengthen it than be worried that this isn't going to, you know, be robust once it's actually in a journal. So, you know, that's my thinking really. So again, let me just spread that glue out here. Okay, oops, I'm stuck all over everything. Right. So again, we'll just trim this down, and again, I'm just trimming slightly in, because obviously, you know, it's doubtful that I've gone right to the edges with the glue. So if I just trim in just like 1 millimetre or so, you know, it just then hopefully touches the glue, or certainly goes a lot closer to the glued edge. So just trim that like that. Okay. Oh, I just love the colour of that blue. It's just so pretty. And with her, just love it. It looks really striking. Okay, so again, I've just got some lace here, which we could use. I thought bring some black lace as well, which I'm not saying that black would necessarily be ideal. But you just can't tell, to be honest. Sometimes it's those things that you least expect that actually look the best. So I can't see it anywhere now, so perhaps I didn't. Oh well, perhaps I didn't. So just see whether we want her on anything. So again, have her actually on that Hessian looks really good, doesn't it? So what I might do is trim around that. Just pop her like that. She looks good on that. Do we want anything else on here? Oops. Playing around, seeing what might look good. I've just got a little offcut of lace, which we could kind of pop down like that. You know, just the tiniest of scraps, you know, just rather than leave them there laying around on the desk, I guess. So let's just pop the doily down. Trying to fit it on rather than have it hanging over, and that's just me, because I'm not really very good at, you know, not then damaging that. So right, now what I'm going to do, and I have talked about this recently, but I don't know which way round I'll be uploading my videos, so excuse me if you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to use some gesso now. I don't very often use gesso. It's sort of, I don't know why, but for some reason it just scares me a bit. But I'm going to just gesso slightly around this hessian. I've just got a bit of water here from another video, so I'm just loosening the gesso slightly, you know, to make it a little bit easier to use. So and obviously this gesso will then slightly, you know, make the hessian less prone to fraying as well, which is obviously a good thing. Right, shall I be brave and actually gesso a little bit over my piece here? Okay, probably that's enough. I don't want to go too mad. And also it's obviously a little bit smudgy because I've you know, wet it slightly, so don't want to actually, you know, destroy it completely. So just, you know, okay, right, put the lid back on this, and I might just clean my brush off on a wipe just straight away before I actually forget, because if I'm here for a little while yet doing the video, you know, it's quite likely I would forget. So just clean that straight off like that. Okay, so obviously my gesso is slightly wet at the moment, so what I'm going to do is go and stitch that envelope, and then I'll be back. Right guys, I'm back from the sewing machine. So this is my little envelope. We'll come back to this in a second, so let's just carry on quickly with this piece that we've been doing here. So whilst I was obviously, you know, switched off, kind of going downstairs to the sewing machine, I came back and I then had a little bit of a, you know, oh, I'm not sure I want that lady on here. So I've got a choice between the lady or this building, which I'm kind of veering towards the building, I have to be truthful. I mean, I always love, you know, buildings and things, so, you know, that's just kind of part of the course really. So I'm just going to ink around this hessian slightly, so like that. And actually I should probably just ink around this image slightly because I haven't inked around it at all. So like that. Okay, so take my hessian, and I think what I'll do, if I want a bit of lace coming out down the side, just trim that down. Just see whether we want to layer that like that. Yeah, I think I do. So I'm just going to glue the hessian with the hot glue, I think, because it's nice and quick, and, you know, don't have to worry then about it drying. Let's try and mind my fingers because, my gosh, that's hot through the hessian, which obviously is just holy, so not really ideal for pressing, but there we go. Okay. Okay, right, then got this bit of lace here. Just going to, you know, layer this up like that. And I've just got this tiny scrap there, which I think we kind of pulled in before. I might just pop that side. So, I mean, again, just for speed, I'm just going to hot glue this down because, you know, it's so much easier than obviously waiting for things to dry. Oops. Waiting for things to dry. So just pop that down like that. Again, just pop this down like that. Now, do I want to have that building layered up on some book page? So let's just have a look and see how that would look. Just pour some in. I think I've made a good job of tearing around that, but there we go. So I might just layer it up a little bit like that. So, oops, if I move that to one side, just glue this one down onto the book page. And then I'm going to just tear the book page down slightly more once it's in place. And then, you know, ink it up really. So just tear it down slightly. I don't want to tear it down too much, but it was very irregular shaped and quite huge, so just like that is a bit better. So I'll just grab the vintage photo. Oops, I've now inked it with the blue ink pad. Never mind. Go over that with the vintage photo. That's what happens when your desk is full of desk ephemera, I guess. It's hard to keep track of what's what. Okay, so I like it like that. I mean, effectively, I've kind of covered up that whole Hessian piece, really, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. I have got some little doves here, which I don't think I like those overly much. Right. We could have that lower down. It's probably better up there. So, again, I'm just going to now hot glue this, you know, because it's just really quick and easy, and I don't have to then muck about waiting for it to dry. So just take it and pop it straight down like that. Okay, now I've just got this little, oh, I nearly did it again with the blue, this little sentiment here saying precious moments. So again, just ink around that a bit. We could have that down there. Maybe again on a little piece of fabric or lace, just seeing whether I've got anything, you know, hanging around on my desk. Oh, I've got this little, just from some scrapbook paper. It's not quite the right size or shape. It's a shame because that would have been super cute on there, wouldn't it? Right, what was I looking for? Some lace. Pop that on. Can I stretch that out, I wonder? Let's have a look. Oh. I can certainly, oh gosh, I picked that up again. I should really put that away in the drawer because I will end up using it, you know, to a point where it's not going to be rectifiable. I don't know whether that's a word. Right, let's just cut this down. And I want to just have this really raggedy. Okay, so again, I'm just going to hot glue this because, you know, again, I just don't want to have to wait for it to dry. So let's pop that down and just pop the sentiment down on top. Like that. Okay, and then can just rough around my edges slightly, and I tell you what, I'm thinking would look really great on here, and I haven't done any of the tips that people had given me for my Inca Gold, but I'm thinking that the Inca Gold would look absolutely lovely around this page. So let me just pull it in. I should have obviously done something with this, but I wasn't expecting to use it again quite so soon. So I wonder whether I could get away with just dipping it in that water. Probably not. Just pour that in there. Right, let's just... Well, it's coming out a bit better than it was. So just going around that lightly around the edge. So I mean, you can actually hardly see it, but I mean, obviously I can see it here. I doubt it's being picked up on camera, but I will just show you in a moment. So just do that slight edge here, which just escaped the Inca gold. Now, have I got it all? It's hard to see. Okay. And actually I could just go slightly round that bit page, get some bit as well. Okay, so that's that piece. Now, have I, or do I need some bling on here? That's the question, because obviously this, I feel like it wouldn't even be one of my pieces without a bit of bling. So now I had this gold here. I don't know what I've done with that. So, right, I've got some black and I've got some gold. So let's trim them down and see what would look good. I mean, if it even needs it, because I'm quite liking it as it is. I'm just going to zoom in slightly because, you know, I don't know how well you can all see. You know, because where I went to the sewing machine and obviously stopped filming, I don't know whether it zooms out slightly or whether it's the same as it always was. I don't know. You see, I want to use the gold and be different, but I do just always love that black, is the problem. Oh, I can't even pop that there because of all the glue all over my hands. Right, what do you think? So that's the gold. And oops, that's the black. Oh, I'm going to go for the gold just to be different. I do love the black, but you know, I want to just do some different things really, so I'm going to go for the gold. Okay, wow, that was fiddly. Right, so there's my gold bling. How awesome does that look? It's gorgeous, isn't it? I love that blue. Right, so let me move that to one side and then pull that envelope back. So we'll just pop that down there. So I'm just going to hot glue. Oh gosh. Sorry, I've just got glue literally stuck all over me. So hence, you know, pulling things around now constantly. Right, got our postage stamp here, like that. And then, no, not that. Not that. Let me just have a look and see whether I have anything else on here. So just having a look, seeing what's beside me. Got a couple of things here which maybe would go okay. Got a postcard sentiment there. Could have that. Got the blue one. And I've got a butterfly, which I always just love butterflies everywhere. So let's just ink up my postcard piece. Postcard piece like there to the side. Pop that on a piece of fabric or lace as well. Maybe the white And I'm thinking I wish I had actually inked that white lace up. So I wonder whether I can go round and do that a bit now, or whether it's too late. Oh, it's a little bit, isn't it? Working a little bit. There we go. Okay, right, now where's that white lace again? And where's that postcard sentiment now? Oops. Right. So again, just take that, pop it onto the lace like that. Now I haven't got the foggiest idea how long this video is, because where I've obviously stopped and started it, you know, going down to the sewing machine, going down for that parcel tape, which we've now not ended up using that piece. But I hope that this isn't now really, really, really long. So it's just that I've now lost track and I couldn't really tell you how long this piece of film has gone on for. So, right, I'm just going to glue this straight down. Like that. Okay, and then where's that butterfly gone? Oh, come on. Now I've lost the butterfly. I only had it a moment ago. Oh, there it is underneath the ink. So we could just have butterfly on there. Do we want another flower? Could do, couldn't we? And oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? So let's just pop the flower on now. I'm just going to ink this flower up a little bit, and then I'm just going to ink this one up a bit so it's not so bright. So just pop that down. Oops. And take this, pop this down. Right, having a few problems here, so I need to just glue that flower down on the actual petal, because obviously my diamante is kind of hanging on to the petal, so you know, if that's flapping, then it means my diamante is flapping as well, so that's better, having it just fixed on there. And then just going to pop that butterfly on like that. Okay, so really pretty. Okay, let me just have a look in here. So this is my little envelope. Really gorgeous, huh? So decorated up, and then on the other side we could just pop, you know, just a bit of lace trim kind of along here, I think. So I'll just trim that down. Like that. And then I will use the fabric glue for that. Like that. Oops. Okay. I don't dare use that wipe because I don't want to smudge my ink around. So I'm having to just use my hand, I'm afraid. So excuse my messy methods again. Just going to trim this little bit off here, just because again it was a little bit too flappy. There we go. How pretty is that? Love that envelope. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? So that's that. So then we've got this one here, which weirdly enough I'm not so keen on now, because we've not really grunged this up at all. So let me just go back over this and, you know, grunge this one up slightly. Like that. I just wonder whether what we could do is have this piece, which is just our offcut, going around the edge of that. And that just brings it to, you know, something else, doesn't it? So let's do that. So I'll just pop that like that there. Oops, where's my pen gone? There we go. And then I'm just going to trim this off here. And then just, again, just tear this down. And the good thing is we've obviously now managed to use most of that book page, you know, rather than waste that little bit. I won't throw that away. I'll keep that just in case I want to use that for something else. But to me, that just looks, you know, a little bit better kind of for having that. And actually I wonder whether I now need another little rosebud, so just quickly have another look, see what other things I have here. So this teeny weeny rosebud here, just chop that one. Yeah, I think I kind of get stuck, you know, in a bit of a rut and hadn't really stamped anything with bright colours for a really long time, or not even bright colours, but other colours, other than just brown and black, really. Occasionally the olive green, but it's so nice to actually just, you know, get some other colours out, really. So, yeah, I've been quite enjoying getting the other colours out. Well, do we want it like that or right over here? I think right over there probably. So again, I'm just going to hot glue this down. I know it's not really necessary because it's just card, but again, it just saves me, you know, waiting for it to dry. Okay, so that just finished that off for me. It was not, you know, it was just looking a little bit boring, I suppose, compared to the other pieces that we made. So let me clear my desk off so that we can actually see the pieces that we've made today, not in amongst the rubbish, because I'm sure that's not really very nice to look at. So we've got this piece here, really pretty, isn't it? I love those two colours together. So that's one of our pieces there. And again, as I say, you know, could always stick down another sheet of the book page to strengthen that and stiffen that further. We've got that gorgeous envelope, which absolutely love that. Really, really pretty. Just gorgeous. So that's the envelope. And then probably my favourite piece is this one here, which we just inked around with the Inca Gold, if you can see that. I don't know really how well the camera's going to pick that up. But just absolutely gorgeous. And again, you could just use that just on a page, you know, as just a little pocket there, just to the side. So I really hope that you like, you know, the pieces that we made and that you like the video. Yeah, give it a go, because I just think the, you know, the pages and the colours that you can create are just something really pretty and you know, quite a bit of fun to use. So I'm just pulling in the other pieces. Obviously we've got this piece here with the parcel tape, which we didn't obviously get around to using, but you know, I'm pretty sure that we could, you know, do something with that and make it look pretty cool too. So yeah, I hope that you like the video and I hope you like the bits that we made. So I will see you all again soon. Thanks very much for watching and have a nice day. Thanks. Bye.